Okay, friends, thank you for clicking the video, but let's start. What about deriving quadratic equation? So we should learn about, first, before we learn about quadratic equation formula, we should derive it first. So that would be point number one. Number two, then we'll use it to solve equation. Using quadratic formula. So let's begin by, so it all starts from the completing square method. So if you don't know what is completing square method, make sure you watch my video about completing square method. So you have a general equation, a standard equation, some people call it standard equation, plus c is equal to 0. This is the general standard quadratic equation. So from this, where a, c are coefficients, that means they are numbers. So if you want to start deriving this, start from ax plus bx plus c. Actually, I have just copied it so that you can follow. So what we'll do is we are going to take this c to the left side of the equation, so it will become minus. You see, I hope you can follow what I'm doing here. I don't think I have to show even how c becomes minus, but minus 1 minus 1 is equal to 0. So that's why this one. So if this one here is 0 minus c, so it's this thing. So that's where we are coming from. So now after that we can factor out this. Yes, we can divide a throughout the equation. We were trying to make it simple so that x squared only has a coefficient of 1. So it will be x so this and this will cancel. So what remains is here there was a. Now friends, when you have done that, you see friends, there's something more we can do here, and that is from the completing square method, when we reach this stage, we now want to find another perfect, we want to form a perfect square. So we want to find another entity here, which is called like a new c, which will be here. So that entity comes from, we say, from b divided by 2, and then you square. That's where you find this, the third entity, which is c. So, which is another c. Forget about this one, but this is the one that will give you that thing, that entity. Again, if you haven't watched the complete square method, you better watch it before you derive the quadratic formula. So now, because that's what we need. So our b here is the second entity here. So our b here from this equation is this. Is this. So I'll put inverted like this, so that what it means is this doesn't make sense actually, but in another equation, in a real equation where you're doing with numbers, it will make sense. But what I'm saying is, for you to understand that, just take this b over a as b. Yeah. So when you have done that, so let's now put it in. So we said if you do something to the left hand side, you do the same thing to the right. So we are saying this b divided by 2 squared. So you're taking this, so this, you want to take this b, which is b of a divided by 2, and then you square it. So it will be something like this, divided by 2, and then you square it. So this is what we are going to add here. As our second b. So from what we said about completing square method is that what you do to the left, you do also the same. You do the same thing to the right. So since we are running out of space, what should we do with this? So maybe we should just move it. Oops. Let's just leave it for let's leave it there. So since we have added a certain thing here, we'll add the same thing to the right, to the right, yes. So it will be b divided by a square. Now friends, let's simplify this thing so that it looks presentable. So let's copy everything. So this is going to look like, because I needed to show you something so that you don't get confused. Let's say it's b divided by a divided by 2. You see the inside. So this is equal to b divided by a times, remember this is like that, so it's like this. So this will become see. So we are going to copy it here. Don't forget to square this. So now friends, let's clear this place. Now friends, bring the color is so now friends, you bring this, you just drop it down. So this is the same thing that we did. This is the same entity here. This b over a divided by 2. So it's b to a. Now friends, when you reach there, the equation now is perfect. Now what you can do you can simplify this to the right hand side, and then you can write this as a perfect square, the left hand side. So this is going to be so this will be the square root, so that let me delete this also, the squared. So it will be the square root of this. So if the square root of this is just the inside only, removing the squared. So it will be plus. And then you put it in a bracket, then you square it. That's a perfect square. So here now, you can find, you can first distribute this square inside. So let's just use one color again, this. So it will be b squared, because 2 squared for a squared is a. A is equal a is equal to a squared is equal to a squared is equal to a squared. Yes. Yeah. So now after you have done that, you can continue to work I mean, this is fraction. You just do fraction addition or subtraction. I don't know. So let's just copy this. So on this, friends, you can find the common denominator here. And the common denominator here is, I mean, not the common, but the lowest common, like LCM. I mean, something that this goes and then this goes. Yeah, that's like the LCM, lowest common factor. Yeah. So that will be this, because a can go, and for a squared also can go. So a will go this one how much time? It will go, you just move this, it will just go for a, because it's like this a squared. So you just cancel this, and then you cancel this. So this is what it means. So this, you multiply it here for a c, and never forget the minus sign, plus this is 1, because you just cancel all. So it's p squared. Now, friends, it's time to, we can remove the square root, the square, and then rearrange also the right hand side. So how are we going to remove this? We will introduce the square root, you see. So let's just rearrange it now so that it doesn't give us problems. This is just rearranging, it's just the same thing. And then introduce the square root, because like we said, what you do to the left, you do the same thing to the right. That's the square. That's the, and don't forget this plus or minus. The square root, a square root comes with plus or minus. That the answer is either plus or minus, or either positive or negative. That's how it's a nature. So don't forget that one, friends. And friends, now we can be comfortably removing the brackets here. Now, friends, now we can copy this. Or, friends, you see, this thing is the square root it also belongs to the denominator here. So you can keep the square root of the numerator, and then the denominator you can work it out so that it is presentable. Let's just do it right here so that. So let's leave the numerator here, and then let's the denominator. Let's do this. We will do square rooting here, like we're introducing the square here, because the square belongs to this also. So if you do that, then this will go, and the 4 it will be 2, so it will be 2a. So now, friends, we are almost there. So here now, friends, you just have to take this one to this side, to the left, to the right side. So it's going to be minus. So it will be x is equal to, so it will be minus. So minus. Remember now the denominator, friends, does not have the square root. So friends, the same thing here. Regard this as a fraction, and this as a fraction, and this as a fraction also. So you are like kind of b divided by 2a minus this fraction. So what will happen there is that there will be a common denominator, which is 2a, and 2a into 2a, it will go minus b, so it's plus or minus, and then 2a into a, it will also go is 1, so you just copy the numerator. And this, friends, is the quadratic formula. So x is equal to minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. So now let's try to apply this formula into an example. So there's a question here like solve. So let's take a complicated one because we are using a quadratic formula. So a quadratic formula is easier to work with. I mean, complicated quadratic equations, just use quadratic formula because it's easy. So we can put, let's say, 45. And then plus 10. Or we can put minus here, just to make the matter interesting. See. So is equal to 0. Now, friends, okay, now, friends, I kind of left a little bit, so let's proceed from this. So if you can pause the video and then try this the question on your own, so that as a way of practice for you, assuming that you have tried it. So let's try to solve it. Now what we are doing here, we are going to just use the quadratic equation. So this is solution. So from our equation, a is equal to 7 and b is equal to minus 45 and c is equal to, okay, this question, let's put something so that people can learn something here. Let's remove this 0 and put something like, let's put 32 here, so that it becomes more complicated, so that if it's like that, then okay, you can pause it again and try it again. Yeah, and assuming that you have tried it, if you have tried, then please, you can tell us the answers in the comments below, so that if it was 0 there, then we'll just go ahead, define our A's and B's and C's. What is our A and what is our B's? Yes, you see, friends, here is a way of, it's a chance for us to be practicing. So that's why I had to change the question, so that we make it a little bit more difficult, so that if you're in an exam and they give you something like this, then what are you going to do? So that's what I just thought we can do. So from this, then first of all, you have to rearrange, to rearrange the question, so that it can be in a form of the quadratic equation. We said that this is the form that you would want. Of course, here there can be minus or something, it doesn't matter, but this is how it's simple here. You just apply what is your C, what is your B. But in our equation here, there's the 10 and the 2, these are like terms, so we can bring them together. So that I show you what we have done. So here then, friends, what we can do, you see this is equal to 0, and this is equal to minus 22. So let's just copy this. Minus. Now we are in the form that we wanted. So in this, in our A is equal to 7, and B is equal to minus 45, and C is equal to minus 22. Don't leave out the signs. So now let's bring our quadratic equation. So this is x is equal to minus b. So our b is minus 45, so it's minus 45 plus. So with this, then our a is 7, the c is 22, minus 22, and all of that divided by 7. So now, friends, we have to simplify these things. So this minus minus to give us positive. So if you are squaring 45, negative 45, anything if you square it, it is going to be positive. So it's 45 square. We should get so then you have 22 negative, there's negative 4 times 7 negative. So there are two negatives here, friends. So that means this will be positive. So let's now 22 times 7 times 4. You should get something like that. And then this is 14. Oh, let's shift now to this side. So friends, if you do that, first of all, let's let's take this, let's move this thing. Let's bring it. Okay, let's just bring it here. Let's leave it there. So now friends, when you have something like this, let's try to add those values inside the square first. Should get something like this. Now you can leave. Okay, let's now identify our x's. Like I said, there will be two solutions. So x is equal to plus, maybe we should use or. In some books they'll say x1, x2, but I prefer saying or, so that it's the same x. So it's either this, it's or x is equal to. That's the thing about these colors. You forget. So yes friends, so yeah, so you see this friends, so x is either 45 plus square root of 2641. So this is approximated to, if you solve it, if you try to simplify it further, these are our answers. This 5, 6. I mean, you just have to leave to three decimal places. So this is your second answer. So now, if you got this, then give yourself a like the video. And if you feel like you can now be able to derive the quadratic equation, like the video and also subscribe. Thank you for watching, friends. Until we meet again in another video.